absolutely. If you look at what's going on in the markets, the stock markets have set several records in the last month.
On Newsmax, House Republican Rich McCormick perhaps accidentally made a good case for President Biden's record.
If you look at interest rates, are going to come down probably in September. Not enough to really affect the market, but you're going to have still low unemployment rate. He, quote unquote, did something about the border. I'm worried about us losing focus on what really matters.
And what really matters to MAGA Republicans is that Biden is feeble and incompetent, they say.
This is NBC.
But the news keeps eclipsing the GOP talking points.
For the first time in 4 years, U.S. consumer prices have fallen.
From May to June, consumer prices fell 0.1%. We haven't seen lower prices since the start of the pandemic. The annual inflation rate now 3%. Remarkable improvement there from the peak of 9.1% 2 years ago. Prices fell this month for gas, used cars and trucks, airfares, other transportation services, and that decline in gasoline more than offset rising housing costs.
But if we don't get back to the basics, what Reagan was so good at selling, even though he's a likable guy, he sold a product that was so good.
And MAGA Republicans insist Donald Trump is a good product and Joe Biden is a broken one.
Look.
But the Biden news conference torpedoed that claim.
My schedule has been full bore. I've done, where's Trump been? Riding around in his golf cart, filling out his scorecard before he hits the ball? I mean, look, he's done virtually nothing.
Even President Biden's harshest critics on Fox News, including Brian Kilmeade, praised his performance.
I think he did fine. I thought he did fine.
That's right, I'm telling you.
If this was just a press conference, we would have said, oh, look, he made two mistakes. All right. Because he didn't blow, like he wasn't clueless. Right. There was no freezing moments. There was no, there was a typical Joe Biden miss-up. I mean, saying that Donald Trump was vice president, obviously terrible, but it's typical of Joe Biden.
Well, all of you think that Biden should...
CNN watched the Biden news conference with a Michigan focus group.
The two of you weren't decided. My question for you, you weren't decided before this happened if he should stay in the race. How do you feel now after watching this news conference?
Relieved, and I think he should stay in.
So your opinion's changed? From not sure to he should stay in?
Yes.
Okay. And how about you? How do you feel? You weren't sure. How do you feel now?
Same. I think he's the logical choice.
Okay.
Yeah.
The progress for President Biden was also clear in the CNN studios. Weeks ago, following the debate, analyst Paul Begala was blunt.
It wasn't just it was the worst night, the worst performance in presidential campaign history. Seriously. And I've been doing this a long time. It was a catastrophe. They set up the debate to quell the questions about his age. And I don't really think they accomplished that.
After President Biden's news conference, there was this.
Paul Begala, what did you see?
I saw substantive mastery. I mean, my goodness, it was a tour de force and a tour of the world. We talk a lot, of course, about NATO and Ukraine, but about China, about Israel, Gaza. He seemed to have the substance really at his command.
A tour de force, said Democrat Paul Begala. And that means President Biden not only avoided any catastrophic mistakes, but President Biden cleared the low expectations set for him by members of his own party. They anticipated the news conference would be another disaster. It was not. And now top Democrats in Congress who had been wavering on the Biden campaign are again showing support. Here's Democrat James Clyburn from South Carolina on NBC's Today Show.
Should the conversation about the president getting out of this race, should that conversation continue?
No, it shouldn't.
The conversation should be over.
No, the conversation should focus on the record of this administration, on the alternative to his election, and let Joe Biden continue to make his own decisions about his future. He's earned that right, and I am going to give him that much respect. If he decides to change his mind later on, then we will respond to that. We have until the 19th of August to open our convention, and so I would hope that we would spend our time now focusing on the record that we will lay out for the American people, remind the American people of what is in store for them if Project 2025 were to become a law in any form.
Project 2025 is an extreme plan for Donald Trump's next possible administration. Over 100 Trump associates, along with the Heritage Foundation, drafted the blueprint, which calls for firing 50,000 federal workers, replacing them with Trump loyalists, eliminating government agencies, including the Department of Education, and turning the FBI and Justice Department into retribution arms of Donald Trump. The Democratic desire to focus on the possible Trump plans will become easier when the media and political feeding frenzy over Joe Biden's age finally calms down. The latest polls may help. As Mediaite reports, Biden pulls ahead of Trump in new major post-debate poll despite mental fitness concerns. Quote, a new NPR PBS News Marist poll put President Joe Biden 2 points ahead of former President Donald Trump 2 weeks after his debate performance called his mental fitness into question. The poll, published on Friday, asked registered voters across the country, including leaners, whom they would vote for if the presidential election was held today. 50% of those polled said they would vote for Biden. 48% said they would vote for Trump. The margin of error in the poll was 3.3 percentage points, making the numbers basically split down the middle. Marist noted that their poll 1 month ago, conducted before the presidential debate, had each candidate at 49%. The poll means that President Biden has largely put the toothpaste back in the tube, at least with voters. And that will likely give President Biden and his campaign even more confidence as they dig in. President Biden has made it clear for weeks that he is not withdrawing from the race, and he made it clear again in the presidential news conference. So Democrats now have a choice. Keep whining about President Biden for a few more weeks and thereby help Donald Trump, or rally around President Biden and give him the best possible shot now to beat Donald Trump. This isn't complicated. Plus, Americans generally like a good comeback story. And this fall, there would be nothing more remarkable and inspiring than President Biden, knocked down and left for dead by his own political party, coming back, defeating Donald Trump, and saving democracy. The added bonus would be seeing the already despised political and media elites in this country undermined and humiliated once again. To be clear, I'm not sure of the best course for stopping Donald Trump, but I am certain that President Biden, who has a long history of exceeding expectations, has given himself a new lifeline. By the way, an arguably corrupt Senate Republican has been caught making a disgusting gesture to a protester.
Hi, I'm here with the Congresswoman. I was wondering how much money it would take to buy you back from Big Oil.
From Big Oil?
Yeah.
Oh, you look at how dishonest that was. You asked if you could take a selfie, and now you're asking questions. And tell me, what do you think that Big Oil? Talk to me about that.
I think that the climate crisis is here and getting worse, and you're being funded by the people who are making that happen.
Listen, we've got to be not only energy independent, but energy dominant. We do it better than anybody.
With a permanent smile, even on the elevator, that was Republican Senator Katie Britt of Alabama. Did you catch how Britt reached out and put her hand on the shoulder of the protester? Take another look. This is a condescending power move. No politician wants to be touched by a protester, so the politicians should not do it either. Check out that video at the link below. It generated a lot of comments on YouTube. One of the most popular is from Franzi3605, who wrote, "These politicians need to be reminded that they're public servants, as in they serve the public, not their corporate donors." I agree, but unfortunately, our political system has essentially legalized bribery. Anyway, I look forward to reading your comments about President Biden rebounding and getting his successes promoted and acknowledged by conservatives. I'm David Shuster. Thanks for joining us.